老师好。
Nice. Thank you. Your hair looks great, Francisco. All right. All right. Good morning. So we're going to just jump right in because, as per usual, I'm behind. And thank you for turning on your cameras. It's lovely to see some of you. That was a nice Mayengok. You guys know what a Mayengok is? It's a Mayen. I think it's spelled like this. Maybe Roxana will know that. Oh, not. Maybe Roxana will know. It's something like this. It's a Mayengok. Maybe it's that. I don't know. It's when you say something, but you are actually implying the absence of something else. All right. So when I said it's nice to see the faces I can see, right? It means it's not nice to see the ones I can't see. Okay, whatever. All right. You guys aren't in the mood for it yet. Sorry, I haven't warmed you up. So we're moving into Master Shantideva is giving us an introductory description on how to rejoice. And basically we're in a section now that we're talking about. We've done good deeds. We've been purifying and being aware of the deeds that weren't always that good. And he starts saying, well, how do you give those deeds away? Like, how are you doing things in a way that are just not even good things, that are not just for you, but they're for other people? And so where we are in this class is we're talking about 4 different things you can dedicate your good deeds towards. And we're going to dive in a little bit deeper after that. In the sense of, how do you take joy in good deeds? And the thing that I find interesting is, especially when I first started studying everything like this, is that it kind of feels mechanical. Like, put your mind here, think this way. Hey, I'm doing a good deed. Now do this. And it kind of feels a little like, I don't know how to say it. It lacks heart-centeredness, maybe. Maybe it's kind of like, if there's all these like instruction manuals, like Francisco writes instruction manuals how to use our educational platform, like push this button here, do this here, do this here, and then you get this result. It's kind of the same way, that if you do things step by step, if you push the right buttons, cool results start happening, including a big heart, including natural joy, including seeing the people around you get better and better. So for me, sometimes it's like, oh, here's a whole list of what you can dedicate your seeds to. But what does it mean to dedicate our seeds? So we were in a discussion about, actually, we were in a discussion of jealousy. That's where we kind of left it. And I didn't show you the picture of jealousy. That's the picture of jealousy. All right. We talked about it, but this is the picture from it. This guy is upset about this relationship that he sees, right? This couple is super happy. They're super in love. Well, at least they look like it anyway. And he's upset about it. And so if you want to ensure that you don't get the things that you want, right? If you want to ensure that it's the easiest way to do it is to be jealous of what other people have, especially when other people have the thing that you want. And I don't know about you, but I'm a master at this. I'm a master at like, I'm even really good at like looking like I'm enjoying something. But somewhere in my heart, there's this little like devil of irritation who's like, but why don't I have that? And why do you have that? It whines. Um, and that voice grows more and more as the afflictions grow more and more. And, you know, there's also a certain level of when certain needs aren't met, that voice takes over. You know, if I were to empty your refrigerator for 3 days and not let you out of the house, let's see how your afflictions come up, right? Let's see how long you can maintain a good state of mind. And then you get to stand at a locked door through the glass and you get to watch all of your friends eating a really good meal. Okay. Oh, I don't clean refrigerators, Julia. I just take the food from them. um, right? See how long you can handle being a bodhisattva and hungry at the same time. Okay. So that's what there's this thing about leisure and fortune, that you have the basic bodily needs met, right? Like food and shelter. And maybe having loving communities, having loving friends. You know, if you have I mean, it's really easy to be jealous of what looks like a loving relationship, right? And if you don't have a lot of that in your life, you want it and you miss it. And so normally we go to the place of, I want that. I want it. I want that, you know, left channel stuff. I want. You know, and wanting isn't the thing. If you wanting creates more wanting, by the way. But the thing to navigate when you have these jealousy attacks is you know, I think of two different things. The first thing I think of is, well, look, it's an indicator of something that I do want. Okay, that's good, right? So you're trying to find ways to cut it without like, um, you know, you can't stop negative emotions when you're having them. I'm sorry, it's, you know, it's just not the nature of things. But if you're able to bring up another seed that says, oh, this indicates that I want this. Oh, it's in my world. So both of those things are actually seeds that I'm seeing, right? So then I do have that seed in myself. It's just over there. So you can kind of trick yourself into moving from a place of lack to a place of abundance. Because it is over there. It's right over there. It's just not touching you. It's not touching you, right? It's not in your face. You're not getting the story I told last week, right? Was the couple that I saw across the cafe who just were so in love and they were hugging each other. And strangely, I didn't find it disgusting how much they were kissing each other. Like they were just into it. They were like, most people would say it's time to get a hotel room, right? But they were into it, right? And my reaction was like, I stopped the meeting and I'm like, that's Dharma right there, right? And then I was celebrating that I didn't feel jealousy. That was nice. They were so happy, right? But that's not normal. And that's not normal for me. It's just not normal human responses usually. But if you can see that it is coming from you, like it's just in your world, it's a little bit further away, then you can rejoice in that. So you can rejoice in the things you see. You can rejoice in the things that you do as well. So then you say, okay, well, I want more of that. I want everyone to make out in the cafe, right? I want everyone to be in love. I want everyone to have a partner. I want everyone to feel that connection. All right, great. Rejoice in that. And then look at the ways in which you can bring about more connection with people. Bring people together. That's the great thing about doing your book practice. If you have a goal, the fastest way to get to the goal is to become aware of all the things you do that get in the way of that goal. Because if you're really honest with yourself, a lot of the things you are doing are just old habits that are actually blocking you to get the things that you want to have. And then Shantideva is like, well, that's not enough. You know, what it's a little bit self-interested to be like, well, I want all of these things, right? You know, so when you're planting good seeds, when you're noticing good things, then you're starting to do dedications. Like I see that couple over there and I'm making a wish that everyone in the cafe has that. So now I'm making the seed bigger. I'm offering it to others, not offering it to myself, although you could. If you saw yourself in a certain way, you could offer it to yourself. But immediately see the good thing and be like, yes, may the whole world be happy. May everyone get what they want. You know, maybe people are the most in love when they're by themselves. Great. Maybe they're most in love when they have a partner. Great. Whatever it is. I want people to feel that. I want people to feel that connected. And so how do you turn that seed into something bigger? Understand where it comes from. Understand that it actually came from you. Understand that it actually came from a past deed that where you were being nice to other people. You were being kind in a meeting. You were bringing people together. You were showing them love, care, compassion, whatever those things are for you. Past deed ripened into hot couple making out on the other side of the cafe. May all living beings experience such love and bliss in their life. If it can happen once, it can happen again. That's how you get over it. That's how you can change your jealousy into dedication. And at first, it'll feel mechanical because you are feeling jealous. Everything inside of you is like, and you're like, and then you have to fight. Oh, by the way, that jealousy is also coming from a previous seed too. Same hot couple making out, different reaction. So you have to battle. It's called, I'd like to call it a battle. And that's why I use this image for the course, right? You got to be a warrior, right? Yeah, it's a warrior against your own afflictions. Okay. So there's 4 different ways or different things according to Shantideva that you can dedicate, or how you dedicate. You can dedicate generally, just called general dedication. Make the seed. If you do something good, make it bigger, make it for somebody else, not for you. It is for you. That's the thing. You can't be giving the seeds to other people anyway. But that's not the point. Because other people are in your world, you have to give it away. Oh, Tim, but if they're coming from me, how do I give them my seeds? You don't give them your seeds. But you change your seeds. You make your seeds more powerful. You make your seeds more powerful so other people can have better lives. I don't know, Claudia. Is my volume too loud, or is Claudia's computer just...
Very good. It's Claudia.
It's Claudia? Okay. Sorry. Okay. But if you're thinking of other people in the seed planting process, like, okay, yeah, I have jealousy. Oh, yes, I want this from a partner. Oh, I need this kind of money, or I need this kind of health. That's great, right? But if you start helping other people, and you're already helping other people by planting the seed, because that's how you plant the seed, and then you're dedicating it to see a certain kind of result. So you're even pushing it out further. You're not even hoping that it comes back to you, because it will anyway. Okay. But don't think like that. Wouldn't it be nice? It would be really nice to hang out with a bunch of people who don't have problems, who don't get sick, who don't have mental afflictions. I'm sorry, when you're in a Dharma group, it doesn't mean people don't have mental afflictions or get upset or don't get sick, right? It's just we try to handle it differently. We get upset with each other all the time. We just have a different method of navigating it. But how are you giving it away? Always think, how are you giving away your actions? Right? That beautiful couple sharing love, like, yes, may all beings have that. Like, be the weirdo in the cafe. Like, lean over to the person next to you, the guy who was like kind of grumpy, who always sits next to you but never talks to you, right? Be like, look at that, right? Wouldn't it be great if everyone had that? No, I'm not hitting on you. Or maybe I am. Ha, maybe it'll, who knows? You never know who that person might be. Right? Maybe it's an angel waiting for you to say, just waiting for you to finally make that dedication. And then they're like, oh, hi, I'm here. I'm going to go on a date. Maybe they've been sitting next to you in the cafe the whole time, nervous to ask you on a date. Right? You never know. Or they might just roll their eyes and walk away. Doesn't matter. Okay. But so, like, so one way of dedicating is just general dedicate, give it away, right? Another way is you can give away the seeds to help sick people. Like, may this be an act to remove all sickness. It could be a dedication to remove all hunger and all thirst. It can be a dedication that everybody's wishes come true. All right. Remove the bad, increase the good. You know, leaning over to someone who's looking pretty grumpy and being like, look at how happy they are. Isn't that great? Of course, the person could be grumpier because then they're jealous, or it might make their day. What you did, the seed that you planted, doesn't matter about the result you get. And one of the things Shantideva says, well, he gives a little private advice where he says, what are we dedicating? That we take all of our good deeds and the virtue behind them. And one of the main dedications is then we're sending them up so that holy beings don't go into nirvana. What does that mean? Please don't go into nirvana. Like, this is what, like, you hear a lot of Buddhists say, and then everyone kind of rolls their eye and like, what are you talking about? Okay. You're making a prayer. Exactly, Claudia. You're making a prayer that they stay, right? That holy beings stay. But why are you asking holy beings to stay? So that the wisdom stays, so that you yourself will be taught how to become like them. So you're really making a wish for your own enlightenment because it's for other people. My cat just did, we call it the zoomies in English. Zoomies. Okay. It's when the cats, like, they poop and then they run around really fast. That's what right when I said that, you know, when I said about dedicating the seeds to your total enlightenment, she did her zoomies over there. So maybe she was like, finally, Tim got it. Right. Finally, after 12 years of living in Tim's house, he gets it. You know, feeding me twice a day, letting me outside, petting me, cleaning up my poop, you know. Right. So the deeds that you do are automatically for other. Now, understand the system. You're planting seeds with other people. Great. Go help other people. Right. Then you're saying, may those seeds be dedicated towards certain things. Right. Removing suffering, bad health, thirst and hunger in the world, poverty. Right. Then you're saying, or maybe they could be for that all the people in the world have their wishes and dreams come true. And then you're making it bigger and bigger. And you're saying, may this be so that teachers don't leave. May the teaching stay. Why are the teachings staying? Because you need someone to take you to total enlightenment. You need someone to teach you. So who just taught me? Maybe my cat did. Maybe the grumpy guy who sits next to me at the cafe is teaching me. Right? Maybe dedicating your seeds opens up the possibility to see the magic everywhere. And the magic is because anything can be anything. Right? Who changes, you or them? Who becomes the teacher? Grumpy guy at the cafe? Kitty? Your llama who wears red robes and sits on a throne? Who is it? So we're making a wish, that people get what they need both here and then ultimately. Well, wouldn't it be nice if people didn't get sick? I got my hair cut yesterday and I asked him how business was, and I started laughing, and I was like, oh, wait, you don't have a problem with business because people's hairs grow all the time. And it's like a doctor. Like being a doctor is a really easy business because people get sick all the time. You just have to put yourself in one place, and all the people around you will be like, will get sick, and then they're going to need your help. Put a hairstylist in a town that doesn't have one, everyone wants to get their hair cut, right? That's kind of a bad example. The doctor is a better example. But if you're dedicating so people can get the things that they need here and in the largest senses, that's what true dedication is. If you're sitting in a cafe and you see a couple making out and they're just enjoying each other, and you can see the bliss and you can see the happiness, and you're like, wouldn't it be great if all beings had that? Right? And what if you just imagine for a hot second that everyone sitting in the cafe they all are enlightened, and they're all in bliss, and they're all seeing emptiness directly and in bliss and enjoying themselves, and you're the only one who's not. Oh, Tim, but he looks grumpy. Oh, who looks grumpy? Is he grumpy from his own side? Right? You can use these small moments of goodness that you see, and they're there every day if you look for them. They really are. And you can blow them up into these amazing fireworks of how about this one? This one's good. Right? Dedication, right? Just imagine that these lights are behind you being like, for all living beings, yes, right? Oops, my fingers are off. It doesn't see. Whatever, you guys get it, right? So, and that's an ultimate wish, right? May all these beings be enlightened. May all these beings be the teacher. May all these beings be Buddhas. How do you make them Buddhas? And did you think that a Buddha was going to walk in red robes? Maybe the Buddha was like, let's see how good Tim's practice is today. We're going to make out. Is he going to get jealous, or is he going to get happy? That's a nice line, Z. You can be the parade for all beings. That's a kind of cool t-shirt. So I wanted to finish up this section with my favorite verses from the Lama Chupa, which is an offering to the teachers. And sorry, translators, I forgot to tell you we were doing it again, but it's this is in the previous class. So let's have someone read this out loud. How about Janet Chen? Can you read this out loud, please? Using your most perfected, dedicated voice.
In English?
Yes, please, in English.
Bless me to master the perfection of giving, using the private advices for increasing thoughts of generosity, free of any possessiveness, by changing my own body and all the things I own, and all the good I've ever done, or do now, or will ever do, into each and everything that every single living being hopes to have for themselves.
And that's the essence of dedication. All right. If you learn all of the private advices on how to give, and there are many, and you will get them as we go along, you know, that you begin to give all of the things that you have. And that you make a wish that you become a place that every single being wishes that they had themselves. So that all of your actions, all the things you own, then you yourself change into a being that others come to refuge for. In other words, you become a living example. Become someone that everybody will want to become, a Buddha. Okay, become that. And you become that by making a wish. You become that by dedicating. You become that by wishing that everything that you do, you think, you say, the things you own, and even your own body can be of service to other people. And that's in the Lama Tripa. And you'll learn more about that in ACI 36. We're only in 10. We've got some time. All right, let's go to the next one. Open up class 6. So Shantideva continues on with, oh, come on. With discussing how do we, I'm just making my notes here, sorry. As we move into we're doing our purification practices, right? We do our offerings, we do our prostrations, we do our, what was the third thing? What are the third things we're supposed to do? Anyone remember? There's 4 things we're supposed to do. I know this is like 5 classes ago. Offering, prostration, honoring their good qualities, going for refuge, and then purifying. Those are the 4 things. And then he makes this shift where he says, you know, we're moving into the feeling of dedication. And then he moves into this really, I think, a really fun discussion on how do we generate authentic joy in our practice? And how do we generate joy when we do good deeds? And how do we generate joy when we do things like make a commitment to serve all beings? Like when we generate the wish, Semke Pani Shendun Chir Yandak Sokpe Chan Chang Chufte, right? When we finally oh, thanks, Natalia. I got a thumbs up for memorizing something. I appreciate that. Unless maybe she was giving thumbs up to her friend. That would have been funnier if that's actually what was going on. See, I do look at your faces. When you have this, when you make this commitment, right? Like, so you're in this cafe and you're like, may all living beings have this love and connection and and joy with other beings, right? May all beings have that. How do we move from what I was saying before, like to from a mechanical feeling, right? Like I'm saying these words, I'm saying these prayers, I'm repeating them over and over again. And then how do I actually feel it? How do I actually experience it? How can I cultivate that so that it's not just a mechanical, I know I should be thinking this. Like I should be thinking this came from a previous seed. I should be thinking that my reaction right now is from a previous seed. All of this is coming together from previous seeds. They're opening up together. And then I'm making a dedication for future seeds, right? May all beings have this. May they all become enlightened. May they all stay as teachers or become teachers, depending on your seeds. And then moving that into a feeling, right? How do we move that into a state of being versus a practice state, if we want to call it that? And so Shantideva gives us a bit of advice that, which is why we do coffee meditation. Why do we focus so much on coffee meditation? Because taking joy is the way to protect the seeds. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just taking care of my overly joyfully eating cat. She likes to eat. She's also gotten fat this winter. How do we protect the seeds? We protect them by taking joy. And it seems so simple. And frankly, sometimes when I've heard it, I've just kind of rolled my eyes and I'm like, is it really that easy? I want things to be difficult. There should be a secret way of doing it. If I crack the organic chemistry code, I can make that reaction happen, right? Well, after all these years, Shantideva is just like, Tim, get it? Just be joyful. And that's how you protect your seeds. And he's really talking about it in the sense of once you've made a commitment towards serving other people, once you've made a commitment to be a bodhisattva, how do you protect that? And I want to take a pause for a second. What if you're going through some times right now where joy is difficult to bring up? You're going through some times where everything gets under your skin. You're not able to get the things done that you want to get done. Your life is kind of falling apart, or everything around you just is not working the way you want it to work. And you can feel it boiling inside. You can feel and you want to be joyful and you want all those things, but you're just not able to cultivate it. Your state of mind and your emotional state is not where you want it to be. Right? I can go on and on and on about taking joy in stuff. But if you're not in a place where you're experiencing that joy, or you're going through difficult times, or you're living through challenges, what do you do? right? What do you do? Like, how do you, first of all, not get jealous of other people's joy? Right? First of all, how do you navigate all of that? You know what it's supposed to look like, but it's not looking like that right now. I guess the way that I would think of it is when I'm not feeling that way, I need to be protecting myself in the future when I do feel that way. Meaning, if I'm looking around me and I see people who are having difficult times, if you understand seeds, that's the only thing you will do is take care of them. Provide them with comfort, provide them with an ear, provide them with loving kindness, provide them with hugs, right? Provide them with Dharma advices if they ask. If you're in the moment, there's not much you can do. But if you have friends around you, or if you have little tiny moments of it's not that bad, use those tiny little not that bad moments to plant other seeds. Someone came to me, this was in 2017, and was struggling with some deep depression. And I started asking questions. I said, well, are you depressed? How often are you depressed? All the time. And I was like, okay, what does all the time mean? And they thought about it and they said, well, it's about 4 days a week, 5 days a week. And I said, so what happens on those 5 days? And they said, well, I can't even really get out of bed. And I said, well, what do you do on the 2 other days when you can get out of bed? And this person described what it was like. And I said, here's your practice. On the days you get out of bed, find one person to help. Make it part of your plan during that day to go out and find someone who's lonely. Go visit the nursing home. I don't remember exactly what I said to do. But on the good days, so this person had 2 good days a week, and they did one thing in those 2 days to help others. And 3 years later, this person wrote me and they're like, do you remember me? And I'm like, no. It's like I talked to lots of people. I had, and then when she described what was going on, what had happened, I was like, oh yeah, I remember you now. And she said, your advice helped. I was able to get out of this depression. And it made, like, I remember I started crying because frankly, I didn't even remember saying it, at the time. I was like, I said we had been traveling for 20 days. I was jet lagged. I was tired. I had no idea, it was just, just the vices came through from previous teachings. But if you're in those spaces, like, first of all, reach out to other people, and that's the hardest thing to do when you're having a challenge or you're feeling depressed, right? It's hard to say, I need help, right? But when you do have a moment of when you're having a better day, don't think I have to wait till I'm having a good day to help other people, just a slightly better day. And make that commitment just to find one person who needs a little bit extra. And do your 4 steps, and then that the next day you're going to fall back into your depression. Okay. In that day where you had a better day, that's where you're starting to, break that fabric a little bit. I just wanted to bring that up because it's oftentimes annoying to listen, especially if you're having a bad day. It's kind of annoying to listen to someone talk about joy when you can't cultivate it yourself. And I know this, and I know this a lot, and I know this place. And I'm kind of giving you, it's not just advices I've given others, I've given them to myself as well. So Shantideva says, preventing yourself from losing the wish. How do you prevent it? Like, how do you solidify it? Right. And there's kind of two ways that we can take the bodhisattva vow. So two ways we can become, I guess, make the commitment. And the two ways are, first, you make the commitment through a wish. I'm making a prayer. I'm making a prayer to serve all beings. And then you can do it in the second way. You can do it a second time where you say, I'm making the commitment to do this. And that's traditionally how we do it. In that moment, when you take that commitment, you should, if you ever take bodhisattva vows, or if you have, or you renew them, it should be a party. I solemnly swear to take care of all living beings, getting down on one knee and doing the blah, 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 right? That's great. Perfect. Wonderful. But it should be a party, right? Buddhists aren't boring. Okay. You should be having fun. You should be taking joy in doing something that most people don't do. Yes, it can open your heart. Yes, you can take a solemn oath. But for the love of seeds, come on. You should have food. You should have dancing. You should have balloons, whatever is a good party. If it's a cake, have someone jump out of a cake. I don't care. Make it fun. Like, do the things that bring joy. I was talking to someone last night, and they reminded me of all the parties that I used to throw. Actually, well, they didn't come to the parties. I just met them like 2 weeks ago. But something they said reminded me of a party I used to have theme parties. We had so much fun. And they asked me, well, why don't you do them now? And I was like, well, that's interesting. I don't know why I don't do them. And then I said, I'm a professional event producer. I make events. This is what we do. We make events all the time at ACI. I run a hotel. It's the same event every day, right? It's event management. And I was like, oh, I was like, well, why did I stop doing that? And I realized I stopped doing it at the time because there was also lots of alcohol and drugs, and those were also part of the parties too, right? And so when I shifted away from that lifestyle, like the party mode kind of, I lost a little bit of it. But you can have incredibly blissfully fun parties without any of that. I promise. Really promise. So make your bodhisattva vows a huge party. You've invited the Buddhas and the bodhisattvas to come. Like, it should be a raucous celebration. Learn how to make mocktails. Listen, why do people drink at parties? Because they're nervous and they want to have something in their hand, right? You don't have to talk to people if you're sipping on a beverage. You can just keep sipping. You can be introverted and you don't have to talk to anyone. Well, get yourself a great introverted mocktail that tastes delicious, right? Get some good music. Get a disco ball. We used to have a disco ball at Diamond Mountain. I don't think Buddhists are boring. So once you've taken the wish, the practice of taking joy should it should be engaged immediately. So what are some ways that we can do to uplift our hearts, right? So again, if you're not feeling all excited, how do you do it, right? Here's my picture for increasing bodhicitta by taking joy. All right, yay. We're moving on. First of all, here's some of his private advices. Our lives have become fruitful. So once you've taken bodhisattva vows, or you've made this commitment to serving others, whether you do it in a vowed way or whether you do it in just a personal way. By the way, well, this is actually is interesting. This one is called "Our lives have become fruitful." We finally have an amazing opportunity by serving others. And I happen to have an orange here from Phoenix yesterday. All the citrus from all the trees is ripening right now in Phoenix. So I picked some fresh oranges. They smell delicious. But here, look at this group of people. Right? They have a great meal. They have great friends. They're enjoying themselves, right? That's the first thing that happens. Like, your lives have finally become fruitful because you're serving others. And think about how many people actually do that. And then the second thing about taking joy is that we finally achieved a human life. We've truly achieved what it means to be human by taking a commitment to serve other people, other beings, all living beings. And I took this picture because not only are the cats cute, because I like cats, but also it seems like cats, dogs, other beings don't have the capacity to do this. They don't have the capacity to reach for these higher goals. So that you should be happy about that too. And then I made this picture in AI. You should be happy that you've been born into the family of Buddhas. Here's all the Buddhas sitting around at, I don't know, Christmas dinner or whatever Buddha's version of Christmas is. New Year's Eve, whatever. Here they all are having dinner, right? I wonder if they all have the right number of fingers. But yeah, so you're born into a family of Buddhas. Like, you are a child of the Buddhas. You're born into the family of Buddhas. That's the third thing about taking joy. And then the fourth thing is you become a child of the Buddhas as well. That you've been taken into the care of enlightened beings. And those enlightened beings are so excited that you're ready to go. So if that's not enough, Shantideva then goes on to say, look, what can this wish do for you and the world? Right? Not only have you just, you've made this enormous commitment. And, I just want to take a pause. I'd like to take little divergences here. Is that this only makes sense because of emptiness. However, sometimes we don't have access to our understanding of emptiness in a moment. Sometimes, at least for me, my mind gets tired of the intellectualization. And so this is another doorway to go through that's more heart-centered, I guess. Maybe that's a way of putting it. It feels more It feels more. How about that? Right? Sometimes we focus on the 50 proofs of emptiness. Sometimes we focus on the logic of, we use our intellectual approach. And other times we need to be more heart-centered. Of course, they're both valuable. But so this approach is a little less logic-oriented and a little bit more heart-centered, I suppose. But don't forget why it all works. And so if you're having a hard time with like building some of this joy, you can think about some things. Okay? You can think about some things that this is what the wish for enlightenment will do for you and for other people. Nope, that's not it. There it is. So the first thing that it'll do, I move the stuff out of my way, is that if you truly practice it and reach the higher realizations that come from bodhicitta, it'll destroy the Lord of Death. Who's the Lord of Death? So this is the wheel of life, right? It's not the monster in the wheel of life, but it's the Lord of Death that's within each and every one of us. Because we were born, we have to die. And so that's kind of a cool thing. Wouldn't it be cool to remove that from all living beings? That's kind of a big ask. Let's get a little bit, let's go a little bit down to earth. Oh, come on. It can destroy the poverty within all living beings. All right. Meaning that it can help destroy the lack that all living beings experience. Like obvious poverty, like this homeless guy living under a bridge. Or the other kinds of poverties that we have within ourselves, including the lack of wisdom and lack of compassion. It also can destroy all illness. That would be awesome. Put all doctors out of business. You know, the thing we struggle with the most at the hotel is illness. People just get sick all the time, and then we don't have. It's really interesting, like different places where illness arises in different ways. You know, I rarely have, within the ACI community and all the work that we do, we rarely, I just shouldn't say this out loud, we rarely have people get sick. And people don't feel well from time to time, they get a cold, but they rarely get sick. Over at the hotel, people get sick all the time. The last 2 weeks was like every day trying to move schedules around and trying to get people to cover shifts so we can run the hotel. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, why am I seeing so much illness here? Why do I not see illness elsewhere? It's an interesting thing to ponder. I used to get sick. Well, I used to get sick when I didn't want to do something. When I realized I was using sickness to avoid doing things, I stopped getting sick. because I could still avoid doing them without getting sick. But no, it's interesting. Like, what are we doing at the hotel that's causing sickness? Where at ACI, we're not causing sickness. Like, are we treating our employees poorly? Are we not giving them what they need? I don't know. There's a big question there. I was thinking about it and actually a lot yesterday. Like, what are we doing that's creating sickness? Or like sickness where they can't come to work. Like, it's normal in the wintertime to get a cold, right? It's normal not to feel well, little things like that. I got really, I was sick most of January in some way, but I didn't feel bad. I couldn't do I was able to do all my work. I had all the same things the people at the hotel have. It was interesting. Like, it's just an interesting question. But bodhicitta has the power to remove that as well. What else can it do? D. It can destroy the general suffering of the cycle of life. Like, so this wheel of life, the 12 links going round and round and round, you can stop that too. And even more specifically, you can, like, this is one of the realms, you can destroy the sufferings in the lower realms. You can pull the beings out of those lower experiences, like this hell realm, which is kind of cool too. So if you're having a hard time bringing up joy, knowing that that even just the wish to have, the wish to take care of others and to change your life and to do something a little bit different has the power to do all these things. So the question becomes, how does the wish remove that? That's a good question. How do you think the wish for enlightenment does that? How does it remove all that suffering? I think all of those are correct. More specifically, if you become enlightened, then you achieve the capacity to actually teach other people how to do it. You then have the ability to teach others in a perfected way how to do it themselves. So that's how that happens. So how does one reach, oops, what is all this? Right. Oh, I see. Sorry, just wondered what the heck I was doing. What is this is just when you look at the PDF and you wondered why I put the picture there. The DNA of a Buddha, right? What is the DNA of, like, how are you shifting the DNA of yourself and rearranging those components to become someone who can reach those goals? How could you rearrange your own constitution or makeup so that you can have that capacity? And yeah, these are all words, but when you start seeing the changes in your own life and you start seeing the changes in other people's lives, then you're like, there's something here that's working. Does it work all the time? Well, we were having a marketing discussion about this the other day. Can we say this will always work? I live in a country that you're not allowed to say those words in marketing. You can get sued because if it doesn't work, you've made a false promise. It sometimes seems like it's not working. How about that? But imagine that you, like, the process to become someone who can have that capacity. Imagine having to rip apart your DNA and then put it back together. It might be a little painful at times. It might be a little bit difficult at times. Like growth, your capacity to grow is also directly related to your capacity to understand yourself. And understanding yourself means looking at the things that you do that are blocking your success, that are blocking you to reach your worldly and your extraordinary goals. And if you're not able to have the capacity to see and confront your patterns and the things that you do on a day-to-day basis that get in the way, then you're not going to be able to rip that open. But ripping that open is also a painful process too, right? The more awareness you have, the more you're going to have to look at, well, shit, I've been a person that's hurt others in the past. I haven't been good to others. I haven't been that extraordinary being to other people. I've been that jerk that everyone talks about. Good realization. That means you're in a good place. That means you're in a great place. You're just ripping apart your DNA. You're looking at the components that are putting you together as you are right now. And then you have a choice. Do you wrap it back up the way it was and you continue on, or do you wrap it up differently? And wrapping up differently sometimes requires work and it requires change. And that's okay. But if it's uncomfortable, you're probably in a good place. And you are a good person and you're a better person because you're in that place. You're in that place. That's why you're a good person. So what if you did some things 10 years ago? Guess what? Your lifetimes of your endless, beginningless lifetimes. Okay, don't freaking worry about just the one jerk thing you did when you were 20. Okay. Or the couple things you did. That's okay. But the fact that you're opening it up, looking into it and diving in and reprogramming yourself, that's amazing work you're doing. And your software updates are uncomfortable. I understand. You know, not only do you have to update the software, but then once the software is updated, you have to learn all the new features. You know, I've been trying to get the people at the hotel to upgrade from PCs to Macs. I don't understand a Mac. I'm like, just push the button here. It'll be fine. It's not that hard. Microsoft Word is Microsoft Word. But, or maybe you're upgrading from a Mac to a PC. Same thing, right? It's just, you know, the upgrade. Like if you're upgrading and adding new features, you have to learn how to use the new features. And it's uncomfortable. It's challenging. You don't know what to do. You don't know what buttons to push. But that's progress. That's growing as a bodhisattva. And enjoy it, as Anastasia. And enjoy that. Rip open your heart. Shakpa, right? Show your heart. Show who you were. I was that person. Okay. Yes, you were that person, right? That's an act of truth. That's an act of bodhicitta, to say, I was this person. And now I want to be different. And so removing these obstacles to becoming a larger, more completely, how do I say, a more comprehensive type of being who can help other people in new ways. Did you think it was going to be easy? And that's why cultivating joy is such an important part of the process, because when we bare our hearts, when we shakpa, when we do open up our old DNA structures and we're shoving in new patterns, things don't work the way they used to work. And so we're removing two main things. First of all, we're removing our nundrips, right? We're removing all of the mental afflictions. We're removing all the things that disturb our minds. So the wish to achieve total enlightenment, first will do this. It'll remove all those negative emotions. It'll reprogram you through a series of upgrades called the 5 paths. And each of the paths also have upgrades within them themselves. You know, one of the most annoying things that Apple does is that if the upgrade doesn't seem to work, you can't go backwards, right? Most upgrades are like that, right? You can't go backwards. You only can go forwards. Oh, well, Tim, the upgrade has new bugs in it. No, it doesn't have bugs in it. You're just seeing new bugs in it. Okay. Now you have a new program running, and then now you get to see new difficulties. Yay. Then you have to wait for the next upgrade. Exactly, Julia. And what does that mean? Just keep doing your practices. And as you upgrade yourself, the practices upgrade too. I like this metaphor a lot. You know, what version number are you on? Right? But part of that upgrade is removing all the negative emotions, all the bugs in the programming. If you ever worked in software, it's fun. You have to enjoy it. You know, we always say, you know, and you know, you never say that something is bug free. It's just what's tolerable, right? Can we tolerate these errors? But I say something different is, yes, it can be perfected, and you don't tolerate the errors. You continue to purify them. So those are your nundrips. So once you blast through all of those, then you reach nirvana, right? You reach the 8th level bhumi. I think it's 8. Yes, the 8th level bhumi. You become an arhat. You can never get upset again. That's great, but you still need some more upgrades. What was I thinking? I know what I was thinking. Then you need wisdom. And here's my picture for wisdom. Okay. You need more wisdom. In Buddhism, we consider the feminine aspect to be wisdom. Okay. So you can remove the obstacles to omniscience. And you guys can think about why I chose that picture later. So removing the obstacles for omniscience, the shidrups. Because once you reach nirvana, you still aren't able to know all things yet, right? You don't have that full numbkins. You don't have all of those things. So then you continue on to remove these little tendencies, which is not little, it's very big. So the whole idea of where Shantideva is right now is the DNA of the world that you see, you and others has a lot of, it has its problems. Like the program doesn't quite work. And what doesn't work is because we don't understand where things are coming from. And we've been trying to solve those problems incorrectly for so long that it feels like that's the correct way to solve the problem. And so when we talk about taking the essence of this very human life, which is one of the Lam Rim steps, like to take the very essence of this life means that you do all the, they call it preliminary work. Like, I don't know if I call it preliminary, but it becomes the heart of your practice, which they call the preliminaries, which is purifying your world, stopping the obstacles that are in the way from getting, like you're purifying the obstacles to gain the wish for total enlightenment. Right? If you can summarize it in all of that, like if as I said, if you're hungry for 3 days and then you're stuck in a room and you're looking out the window and everybody out there is eating a delicious gourmet meal, where's your bodhicitta? Are you going to be thinking, well, I must have done something in the past to keep me here where I don't get to see food, but I can see other people enjoying it? How hungry do you have to be before that idea falls out of your head? When will you be like the dog scratching at the door, hoping someone opens it up to give you a snack? Right? But our life is like that. So we need to purify those obstacles to serving other people and not only taking care of ourselves. That's the main point. Moving from a self-cherishing point of view to an others cherishing point of view. In parentheses, you're one of living beings too. So yes, eat your meals, get your sleep, take care of your needs. So but it's removing that, it's removing those obstacles. And then as you're removing those obstacles, you're also gathering all the necessary pieces, all the factors, all the stuffs that can help sustain it, which is mainly, I would say, taking joy in those things, which helps grow the wisdom in your mind. And then you'll actually reach it. And when we say actually reach the wish for enlightenment, there's a whole problem with that whole sentence. We're not going to go into it too much. I got 10 minutes. Wow. Actually reaching the wish for total enlightenment, we could also say that's the direct perception of emptiness too. You guys can think about that. Cool. Never, ever, ever does this happen that I finish on time or early. So we're going to take a pause here. But think about, take into your meditations, how does little acts of joy, how can that really bring on wisdom? How does that really function in dedication? I said all the words, I said all the blah, blah today, but how does that really work? How does imagining giving away seeds to others, which you can't give to them anyway, become a powerful seed for things to really work for you, to get the both worldly and higher goals? How does that work? That's a good meditation. And then look into your own heart and be like, in what ways am I blocking myself? So my homework for all of you, yes, I'm gonna let you outside in a second. My homework for all of you is find something that you're normally jealous about and turn it into a rejoicing. Walk around your town, walk around, places you go, look for the things, make it a practice to look for the things that you're jealous of. And then when you see it, go, yes, I have that seed to see that thing out there. It's close to me. Yes. May that be for all living beings. May all living beings have that. And see what happens to your jealousy. Cool. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy Wednesday. Stick around in about at 8 o'clock. We will be doing some living Lam Rim as well. If you'd like to come to that class, love to have you there. Thank you, translators. Thank you, tech people. Thank you, recorders. Thank you, staff. Thank you, all of you. There's a lot of work that goes into these classes. Cool. So turn on your microphones and say goodbye to each other. We'll see you next week.
Gracias, Tim.
Bye, thank you.
Muchas gracias, Maestro Tim. Thank you so much.
Gracias. Quédate.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
谢谢 Tim，
谢谢老师，
Thank you.
谢谢翻译老师。
谢谢老师，谢谢翻译老师，学习。
谢谢Tim老师，谢谢翻译老师。
Thank you, teacher.
Mulțumim, Luiza, pentru traducere.
Thank you.
Teacher.
Visions beckoning and choosing's over.